to Winning Isn't Easy. I'm Nancy Cavey, a national ERISA and individual disability attorney. Before we get started, I've got to give a legal disclaimer. This podcast is not legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says I've got to say that. So now that I've done that, nothing will ever prevent me from giving you an easy to understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games that disability carriers play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. Now, in the course of this podcast, over the many years we've been doing this, we've covered a lot of individual diseases. Today, I'm going to dedicate a whole episode to discussing diseases and how disability carriers or plans will use disability tools, if you will, in their denial toolbox to deny or terminate benefits. While I'm going to cover some specific diseases, I want you to understand that the games that they play are generally games that they'll play in every type of disease claim. So while I may not be talking about your specific disease, the games will generally be the same. I want you to understand what you need to know about getting the benefits that you deserve, what carriers generally don't understand about the diseases, and how they'll often reach into their toolbox of denial tools and pull out some tools to deny or terminate your benefits. Okay? So I'm going to talk about three things. First, what every ERISA disability policyholder or plan beneficiary has to know about getting disability benefits for Graves' disease. What disability carriers don't get about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, extra flexible joints, chronic pain, and stretchy skin. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how Reliance Standard used one of their tools in their toolbox to wrongfully deny a claim of a nurse anesthetist with Lyme disease and breast cancer. Got it? Let's take a break.
Been robbed of your peace of mind by your disability insurance carrier? You owe it to yourself to get a copy of Robbed of Your Peace of Mind, which provides you with everything you need to know about the long-term disability claims process. Request your free copy of the book at caveylaw.com today.
Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. What every ERISA disability policyholder or plan beneficiary has to know about getting disability benefits for Graves' disease. Now, as I suggested, many disability insurance carriers or plans use the same denial tools that they'll whip out of their toolbox to deny or terminate benefits. And I'm going to talk about Graves' disease and illustrate to you some of the tools that disability carriers will use, not only in Graves' disease claims, but disease claims generally. Graves' disease is an autoimmune disorder that causes your immune system to attack your thyroid gland. In Graves' disease, your body is producing more thyroid hormones than necessary, and that in turn will speed up many of your body's functions. As a result of Graves' disease, you might have weight loss, muscle weakness, fast or irregular heartbeat, difficulty sleeping, fatigue, and difficulty tolerating heat. Now, having represented folks with Graves' disease, I know that these problems can make it difficult, if not impossible, to perform not only their own occupation, but any occupation. Before you stop work and apply for benefits as a result of any disease, including Graves' disease, you should be doing several things. First, you should get a copy of the policy of the plan. And secondly, you should get a copy of your medical records. You want to understand your policy or plan in terms of the definition of disability, the definition of occupation, what it is you need to prove your claim in terms of proof, how long benefits are going to be paid, particularly knowing whether or not there is any limitation called a subjective medical condition limitation provision that will limit benefits to just 2 years. More importantly, I wouldn't say that, just as important, you should read your medical records cover to cover because medical proof is key regardless of the nature of the disease. I find that many ERISA disability claims are denied because of the lack of current diagnosis, a lack of objective medical findings, or because the carrier or plan simply didn't think that your condition is disabling, even in view of complications. So what are the disabling complications of Graves' disease that in and of themselves could give rise to an ERISA disability claim? Just like many diseases, there are complications. And in the case of Graves' disease, those can include stroke, heart failure, or other heart-related problems, osteoporosis, skin issues caused by Graves' disease, and visual issues caused by Graves' disease. Now, what I find is that it's not uncommon that people will have both skin and visual problems as a result of Graves' disease that just aren't appreciated by the disability carrier plan. Those skin issues can cause reddened, inflamed, itchy, and thickened skin. That can impact your ankles, your feet, your knees, your elbows, your upper back, your neck, your forehead, and your arms. The visual issues obviously can cause redness, inflammation, swelling of the eyelids, sensitivity to light, double vision, decreased eye movement or eyelid movement, incomplete closure of the eye, and even compression of the optic nerve. Any one of these complications that I mentioned, be it as a result of a stroke, osteoporosis, skin or visual issues, can impact your ability to perform your own or any occupation. It is crucial that your medical records are documenting not only the underlying diagnosis for your disease and the objective basis of that in terms of physical exam findings and testing, but that your records are documenting your symptoms, the progression of the symptoms, and how those symptoms impact your ability to do your own or any occupation as those terms are defined. Think about the symptoms of your disease, be it Graves' disease or any other disease. I have my clients take out a piece of paper. On the one side, they write down the symptoms. They draw a line across this piece of paper, and then they write down the impact that those symptoms have on their functionality. So it might be because of the visual issues, you can't be in a room with bright light, or you can't even look at a computer. It might be that you have difficulties with concentration. It might be that you have other issues or symptoms that impact your ability to do the material and substantial duties of your own or any occupation. You want to make sure that you are giving this history to your doctor, because that history will tell the story of your symptoms, the progression of your symptoms, and why you can't do your own or any occupation duties. Got it? So let's take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.